episode of Encourage Mindset, a podcast that's really about brightening, challenging yourself, and most importantly, motivation. Alongside me today, I have a great guest, Eric Smith. He's going to be talking a lot about what he's currently doing and a lot about his story as well and some of his passions and motivations. Eric, welcome to the show. And why don't you tell the audience a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks for having me, Ethan. It's my first podcast. So
there you go.
Yeah, cool to do it with you for sure. I mean, in a nutshell, I'm just a roofer, man. I've been in roofing for, I think, going on 22 years in some way, shape, or form. Started a roofing company when I was really young, 21 years old, and exited that company through a sale and stayed around the industry and other means and just started this company about a year and a half ago. So taking a second run at it.
Yeah, I think that's what's really cool, right? You had that entrepreneur's spirit at a young age. What do you think got you into wanting to start your own business?
You know, I think on some level, I think I wanted to, but on another level, it just kind of happened. I grew up, single mom, pretty poor, low income environment. And I remember at a young age just being really aware of that and, being at friends' house and just kind of really paying attention to, why friends had a bigger house and like what were their parents doing and just being hyper aware of the fact that I didn't want to be in that place when I grew up. And in college, my stepdad at the time was selling roofs. And I was working in a call center and hated it and, going to school full time, working full time, and just made the leap and got out knocking doors and started selling roofs. And I was with a really good company, really good owners. And then they had a breakup and the dynamic changed. And so myself and another guy at the company were just like, well, let's just do this on our own, and I think that's a pretty common story in roofing, kind of how people get started. We knew how to knock the doors. We knew how to order the materials. We knew how to schedule the crews and kind of what all was involved. And so it was just sort of a thing that happened. And we had a lot of success. And I guess the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, so you quote unquote won in your professional life very early on with that business. And obviously now it's led to what you're doing today. But what does winning mean to you outside of work?
Man, that's such a good question because being just money starved as a kid for so much of my life, it was financial, right? In that first company, it was financial. And don't get me wrong, myself and my partner had very strong moral fibers and really worked to do the right thing. But I mean, the main intention was, hey, how many roofs can we get? A storm just hit, let's go do some volume. And we got a pretty good following quickly just through friends and word of mouth and grew really fast. And it was all money. And really that's kind of what led to our exit. I don't know if I knew that at the time, but we had this big growth and then storms stopped. And we didn't really have the entrepreneurship maturity at the time to really know what to do at that point. Mm-hmm. And we were just kind of burned out of building sales teams that kept turning over like that. That's how that kind of works in that door knocking cycle. And so we ended up selling just because we were burnt out. And I know now today it was because it was so heavy on the financial goals. And once we kind of got there, I think there wasn't a piece of fulfillment there anymore. And I thought I'd never own a company again. And so when I left, I joined other companies. I helped other companies scale inside roofing, not roofing companies, but like on the claim side, I worked for a public adjusting company. I worked for a restoration company. And as I've matured and seen other people do it and just became more aware of myself and then more aware of the market, now this time around, it's different. Like it's a different fulfillment. It's a legacy fulfillment. It's a, how can this be built more with a foundation of customer principles and a foundation of reputation and everything that comes along with that. Stability, being able to grow people's careers within our own company. Even if that means we're growing them to move outside of our company and advance themselves. Like there's just more of you always got to look at bottom line, right? But there's just now for me, it's more, I'm 41 years old. I have kids. You think about legacy a little bit more.
I like that
As
you
you
brought
mature.
that up because that was going to be kind of one of my questions today was talking about like what type of legacy do you want people around you to remember? And it seems like you really switched gears to like, I don't care about the financials anymore. I care about, the peace of mind, and I care about family and friends, and I care about, coworkers and all those things. So that's really cool. But how do you balance then? Because you still want to be ambitious, right? You still want to have goals, still want to accomplish things, but you have to how do you balance that with also being content with where you are?
Man, I struggle with it if I'm being honest. I have a really hard time shifting gears. It's something I work on a lot. My wife's really good at kind of grounding me in that, especially having kids. Like when I get in work mode, and that's how I built the first company. It was just I was single, young. I could work 8 hours a week, and I can still get stuck in that. So man, Ethan, I don't know. I think I'm still trying to figure that out, honestly.
Hey, I like that answer. I like that you don't have the answers to all the answers, right? That's also the piece of podcasting that's very fun because you get somebody's authentic answers. And so, um, taking back like all your career sides, all of your personal accomplishments, you've been around in a variety of the home services spaces. What's been like your hardest but most valuable leadership lesson you've learned so far?
Oh, that's a good question. I think at some point the light bulb went off for me that uh, whether it's an employee of my company or I'm in a position of leadership, that person that's underneath you or that you're mentoring or leading is a customer. And I think when you make that mind shift, it really kind of changes, not just the perspective, but just how you just organically and subconsciously kind of move through that position where you're looking at that opportunity as, how am I providing value for this person so that they want to continue being a customer of mine?
Mhm.
And so it just provides a whole different, you just become wired different, I think, once you have that realization. And um, yeah,
Do
so
you think that, I guess this is another curious question. I mean, do you think that like people that are built different, like you just mentioned, like people are wired different. Do you think you can like obtain the skills, whether it's the soft skills and the hard skills to be wired different? Or do you think that's just a natural thing that people are just equipped with that instinct?
I don't know. I really don't. I know that for me, my upbringing and where I started is a big part of that. I
Mhm.
just have an instinct of uh, just keep moving, just keep going. Um, if something's difficult, it's difficult probably for a good reason, and that's usually where the good stuff is in complexity and difficulties, and whether it's just something that's hard to figure out or it's something that's hard to get yourself to do. On the other side of that is usually kind of everything you want. And I don't know if I would have that if I didn't start where I started. Um, so I don't know. I really
I
don't.
think I think I like your point a lot because I think what you're trying to get at is this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think mindset is built upon fears. Like, for example, like my biggest fear is why I work so hard is because like I want to provide for my future family. Like I want to make sure that they get blessings and they get to feel things that maybe I didn't get to receive as a kid. But I know I had a great life growing up and no complaints there. But like I want that for my kids as well. So like I'm fearful, like sometimes, like when I lost my job a couple of years ago, like, man, like I gotta get back on track. What do I gotta do here? Like, because you're fearful of that stuff. Same thing with you, probably. Like you're probably very money driven at first because you're fearful. Like if I don't have that, I'm not gonna, feel safety. I'm not gonna feel comfortable. I'm gonna feel constant anxiety. So I guess, is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, you articulated it a lot better than I. For sure. No, really, for sure, because um, I do this thing, and I think I learned it from Tony Robbins. I'm not sure, but it's called the rocking chair test. And I just picture myself 80 years old on my porch in the rocking chair, looking out down at this exact moment or whatever exact moment I'm in, and deciding like, who do I want to be in this moment? And I have a huge fear of not living up to my potential and being in that position. And there's I'm sure most people know the author Brian Tracy, who's big on how to set goals and how to achieve them. One of the things that he says is how to set fear in your favor, where, a lot of people will set a goal and they're really excited at first, and then all the obstacles start to pop up, and people really act on two different levels. It's either the need to avoid pain or the want to gain pleasure, and pain always wins. So you got to make pain work for you. So instead of thinking first the pleasure of owning a $20 million a year roofing company, and then all those obstacles popping up, and that's the pain and it drives you away, you think about the pain of what happens if I have a 10-year goal of a $20 million a year roofing company. What does it feel like in 10 years if I don't get there? Like, what does that pain feel like? And using that as the driver and the fear of getting to that point in your life and realizing you didn't do what in your heart you really wanted to do.
I love that. That's a great answer. I got to check out more about Brian Tracy a little bit, it sounds like.
Oh, he's great, man. He's got a book called Eat That Frog,
Okay.
which is, kind of how to overcome procrastination. The idea is you do the thing you want to do the least first, and then everything's downhill from there, sort of thing. But he's awesome.
I think that's kind of my biggest struggle, is sometimes I look at my days and my weeks and I know what's coming ahead, and I'm always kind of like, yeah, I got to do that thing first because I know it'll be the hardest. And then it's like, oh, I don't want to.
Yeah, totally. I think that's everyone's struggle for sure.